And now let us turn our attention to our next guest. Wow, look at this. Well, 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 we have come a long way. We started out doing interviews at the Apple Store. Now we're doing interviews via satellite from newsrooms. Look at you, looking all good.
Hey, listen.
Yes.
I want to make this out real quick.
Okay, please.
This is being taped. We're doing this. I'm sorry. Let's start it over. I was going to make reference to it being taped, but we can't do that. Like, we can't say it's taped.
It's fine. I don't care.
All right. They're pre-taping this because, you know, I'm sort of a big deal yesterday after the show. No, I'm just kidding. No, man, it's good. You know, we've come a long way from the days of AOL Fan House to now sitting in the ESPN Los Angeles studios. It's a big deal, man. I'm excited.
Yes. I mean, look at you. By the way, are we keeping the beard for the fight? I really like this look.
I like the frosted tips, you know, like the little, I feel distinguished with those grays in there. I've never realized how gray I am, right? I'm really gray lately, so maybe I need to shave it.
Oh, you're not going to keep it? Because I feel like it kind of paints the picture of who you are going into this fight. You're the elder statesman, 40 years old, all that stuff. You were supposed to retire back in March. You stuck around like every other fighter who says he's going to retire. I feel like this is perfect.
No, man, come on, Ariel. You're making me feel bad like I can't stick to my decision.
No, you can't. That's a nice chain you got. Is that new? I saw that on your Instagram yesterday. You got some new bling, as the kids call it.
I got hooked up by Happy Jewelers down in Southern California. They hooked me up. Cody Garbrandt, Cody No Love.
Wow.
Cody No Love with the hookup. Cody goes, call my guys. I said, okay. They hooked me up.
So this is the biggest question right off the top. Let's address it right away. I'm driving down to do the show, long drive from my home, and I'm listening to ESPN radio, and I see that you're on, and it's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. You're on with Golic and Wingo, and I'm like, man, Daniel sounds really good for being up at 6:30 on the West Coast. And so I asked a couple of your friends, like, man, what time did you have to wake him up? Was it hard to get him up to do these hits early in the day? And they tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, you have never used an alarm clock in your life? You get up on your own? Is this true or false?
My internal clock is the best of all time. Like, legit, wake up. I was sleeping. I had to get up at like 5:45, right? So I was like sleeping. I was so tired, and I was sleeping so good. And then something in me goes, oh, 5:45, I should wake up and start getting ready. I mean, it just works. I've never overslept in my entire life. I used to leave my house at 4:45 to go do UFC Tonight to get to a 6:30 flight at the airport. And every morning I would just wake up, no alarm. I've never used an alarm. I have a great inside clock that just tells me when it's time to get up.
You've never been worried that you're going to sleep through it, especially in the morning?
Nah, man, I just wake up. I don't know what it is. It's like I'm just laying there. And this morning I was like, okay, it's been too long. Like, I know I've overslept, but then I get up and it was 5:48. And I was like, oh, my alarm was set for 6 o'clock. I had a 12-minute buffer. Seriously, I had a 12-minute buffer. Got the greatest internal clock ever created in this world.
Of all the things that impresses me about you, that might be it. And
dude, I'm telling you, it's like the craziest thing. Now, I've missed flights because I'm horrible for trying to leave too close to time for the flight.
Okay.
But in terms of waking up, I'm always up.
Wow.
I just do it.
All right. So everyone's loving you, of course, as you alluded to, you know, the E60 thing. It was great. It was a big hit. But I actually feel, correct me if I'm wrong, like, I feel like for the most part, even your hate, like even John Jones, deep down, I actually think kind of likes you. That being said, I think Stipe Miocic, like, really doesn't like you. Like, you really, truly annoy him. Do you get that impression as well?
I think I annoy Stipe Miocic. I think I annoyed Stipe Miocic after the Ultimate Fighter the first time. You know, I think he's a respectful guy, so he shakes my hand and he says the right things, but I think at his core, he's like, I can't stand this dude. We're just too different. You know, like, we're so different from each other, and I'm loud and I'm boisterous and I mess around all the time, and I'm always cracking jokes, and my group of friends are really loud, and we're a bit obnoxious at times, and it's not his style, you know, and I don't think he really going into the Ultimate Fighter the first time, I think his idea of me may have been different than it was after the show was over because we spent so much time together. You can have an idea of who someone is, and then when you're around them too much, you're like, oh, man, I really don't like this guy. And my idea, Stipe didn't change, but I'm sure after the show, his idea of me changed quite a bit.
You even hung out with him back in the day. Remember you did that show? You visited him in Cleveland. You guys were kind of boys. But now it seems like you really get on his nerves.
I do get on his nerves, but whatever. I don't care. Everybody don't have to like you. Like, what does it matter? Because, I mean, reality is we have to fight, you know, and once we're done fighting, we don't have to be friends. You know, he's got a great family, he's got a life, and he can go live his, I can go live mine, you know, but I respect all that he does for his community and everything, but I mean, there are some things about him that annoy me too.
Oh, like what?
Him sitting out this whole time, you know, just kind of being a little bit, I feel like he acted a little bit like a brat. Like, I should get a rematch, you know. I just thought he should have fought again. You know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But you know what? It worked. Now he gets a chance to fight for the title again. So, yeah, you know, there are things that we both dislike about each other. But at the end of the day, I'm not losing no sleep over Stipe Miocic not liking me.
When you say in the promo, like, I want to ruin him, to me, that really cuts deep because I know how losses have affected you. Like, you know about how a loss can change one's life and how it can, quote unquote, ruin you. So when you say that, I feel like that's not just like pre-fight talk. There's like deep meaning to that. Why would you want to do that to someone? Like, why not just beat him? Why do you want to actually ruin him? Like losses have ruined you.
You know, when I lost to Jones that second time, it could have been over. Like, I was crying. I mean, I was done. Like, he had broken me to a point that it was going to be very difficult to pick myself back up. And then all the other stuff happened to where it was like, now you're just kind of back and you got to go back and fight and defend this title like you're supposed to. But the reality is, like, he just sat around. He didn't go back and do what he was supposed to do. He was saying, you know, he was talking about me in a way that just was like, you know, I annoy him and everything. So it's like, you know what, man? Sometimes you get what you ask for. And when you get it, and you really get it like he's going to get it on Saturday, now you got to live with that. And it's going to take a very, very tough man to bounce back from what I do to Stipe on Saturday night.
You think he'll fight you emotionally? Do you think he'll be any... I mean, obviously, the beginning of that fight was actually going his way, and then he fought you too close. You caught him. It fell like right into your lap. But do you think he'll be too aggressive, too emotional because of the way he feels about you in this past year, how it's gone?
I mean, you know what's so crazy? It's like he was fighting well initially in the first fight, but it's because I was trying to get his timing and everything. I mean, not letting him, but I mean, I was just getting started. Like, I lost the first round of I lost both first rounds to Rumble Johnson because I got to get the timing. I lost the first round against, I mean, if I didn't almost choke Volkan Ozdemir out, I would have probably lost the first round. You know, I've lost like a lot of first rounds because it takes me a little bit of time to get a guy's timing, and once I get their timing, then I start going. But if you watch that fight again and you watch the beginning, yeah, he was doing well. He took me down. I just got up. He hit me with a couple shots, like, you know. But then as the round went on, we were dead even in terms of significant strikes, total strikes, and I was really starting to take it to him. I mean, so, you know, the sequence right before I knocked him out, I hit him 4 times to, like, him missing twice, and then I knocked him out. It's like, you guys are watching the fight and saying he was doing so well, but it was by design, man. This time I already got his time, and I don't have to wait to go beat him up.
Look at you flexing your detail muscles on us. You're the breakdown
you know how
guy.
It is.
You're the analyst guy. You telling it like it is. I like that. I appreciate it. By the way, how much you weigh right now?
240. Like 240.
Any chance you're below 240 come Friday?
I don't know. Maybe. You know, I'm just kind of doing it as I am. You know, before I was heavy, man. I was real heavy when this thing started. When I started after the back surgery, I couldn't train for 5.5 months. I wasn't doing nothing. I was heavy, over 260 pounds. You know, fat. Look at those. Look at the E60 clips. Those T-shirts I were wearing were like spandex. Those are not spandex shirts. Those are double extra large shirts. They just fit me like rash guards. But yeah, I've gotten smaller than the first fight because I anticipated going really long. You know, I didn't train yesterday, and I weigh like 240, so maybe I'll be a little bit lighter. I know when I fought Josh Barnett, I was 237, 236, and I fought 5 rounds with no problem.
So you had the back issue. You went under the knife in late December, the hand issue. Things, I mean, you told us in November prior to the Lewis fight, you sneezed and your back went out. I know this is sort of like that cliche question, but if you could be honest with us, how has this camp gone? You're 40 years old. The body has taken a lot of damage. Any issues? Are you worried about anything? Are you beaten up? How are you feeling?
You know, Ariel, in the beginning, it was very difficult. Like I said, I was super heavy. Guys were competing with me like that weren't supposed to. They were landing more strikes. My head wasn't moving. I was like, wow, you know, if this doesn't change at week 7, you know, we may not be able to do this anymore. And I have no problem saying, okay, I'm done. You know, like if I couldn't have got through my training camp as the way I was supposed to, I'd just say I'm done. You know, call the UFC and say, you know, I'm going to retire and give up the belt and just go my merry old way. But as I started to get a little bit smaller, I I started to do a little bit better, and then I was doing better and better and better, and now I just feel great. You know, I feel like myself. You know, these last 7 weeks, 6.5, 7 weeks have been absolutely perfect. But I had to start really early. I started at like 13 weeks because honestly, it took me 6 weeks to even get in good enough shape to be training at the level that I needed to train. So I would have walked away if it didn't pick up. I would have pulled out of the fight and just walked away. Did all the other things I'm involved with.
True or false? This is your last pro fight.
You know, the reality is I don't want to set. So here's the deal. I said I wanted to be done at 40. And I said if March 2nd would have been that 40-year-old birthday was the 20th, I would have probably been done. This fight can be the last fight because I wanted to make the walk again. So I'm making the walk again. I'll win the fight this weekend and I'll just see what happens. You know, but the reality is if I got to walk away from this thing after this Saturday, I'm okay with it. You know, I've accomplished so much. My family's so excited about the prospects of me being around more. Everybody makes a big deal about all the things I juggle. But the moment that I'm not fighting anymore, that opens up a big space for me to spend with my kids and my wife. So the other side looks good too. But right now I need to be focused on this weekend.
So you haven't decided yet? Is that fair? Are you leaning in one direction or the other?
You know, I did that in the Olympics in 2008, and I said, this is the last time I'm ever going to get on the scale at 211. You know, so it don't matter how I feel. I don't want to say this is the last time I'll step in an octagon, because then what if it's like win, lose, or draw? You know, you start giving yourself options and outs. I don't want to do that to myself. I just got to go fight Stipe Miocic and beat him again.
Do you enjoy the journey as much? Like
I love it.
Okay, so there was no part of you that's like, oh, let's just get over with this?
Ariel, when I get done with this thing, Ariel, like I'm going to still be able to compete with these guys. I'm not going to walk away because I can't compete anymore. I'm going to walk away because I feel it's time and I want to leave my legacy intact. I want my legacy to be and my memories to be left as they are. You know, me getting my hand raised the vast majority of my career. I don't want to be one of those guys that was this great former champion that leaves on 5, 4, 6, 7 losses. You know, like I can't do that to myself, and I would never put my family through that. I don't want to put my kids through nights where they don't know if dad's going to get his hand raised. They're confident now that their dad's going to win because they've not seen anything else. But imagine if you start losing all the time and that becomes their norm. I'm not doing that to my children and my family. I'm not doing that to my wife. She doesn't need to deal with that.
You're no dummy, though. You know what's coming the moment this fight is over, right? John doesn't have an opponent.
Oh, absolutely.
Dana has said multiple times. Like, other people have said, I'm kind of thinking being done. And he goes, whenever you start talking about being done, you're done. With you, he says, no, I want a third fight. You know they're coming. They've left him wide open for you. What happens then?
I make a decision. Again, you know, the ball's in my court now. I decide if I'm going to fight John Jones or I let him continue fighting guys like Thiago Santos and Corey Anderson and those guys. I mean, because ultimately, for him to make the big bucks, we have to fight each other. You know, I've gotten to a point in my career now where the UFC takes such great care of me on the front side that I don't have to sell another pay-per-view in my life. I want to, obviously, but I make so much money now on the front side that it doesn't really matter if I fight him. Before, I was like, I need to fight Jones because I need to make money. I need to fight Jones because I need to legitimize myself. I don't need to do that no more. I'm the heavyweight champ of the world. So I'll make the determination of whether or not I fight him again. And if I don't, then I don't. You'll see me standing on side the octagon, calling fights. You'll see me making a ton of money doing detail. You see me, there are so many prospects for me to be okay financially that I'm happy with. I don't need him. I don't need anyone. So it'll be my decision.
Are you still sticking to the thing where, like, if you do fight him, it'll have to be at 205, or have you sort of bent on that as well?
The fight would be at 205 again. You know, that's one of the prime reasons I would do it, because I would want to try to go and make right what was wrong initially. Maybe if I'm a guy that's going to fight till I was 42 years old, I could fight him at 205, beat him, and then fight him at heavyweight. But it would still be at 205. That's where he beat me at. Another one of my decisions. You know, these decisions aren't his.
Does it bother you when they keep bringing it up, when Dana keeps saying that he wants to see this? Like, does that annoy you?
No, it doesn't annoy me. I think everybody does, though. I mean, I did a first take this morning. The first question was about Jones. I think that our rivalry is so big, it defines our career, you know. For as close as Thiago Santos fought him just recently, people aren't going to remember that fight in the history books. They're going to always go back to the times that him and I have fought, you know, because it just means much more because of the level of mixed martial arts that we show whenever we're in the octagon.
He told me recently, like, he's over you, all this stuff. I feel like he actually wants to fight you a third time, even though, like, usually it's the guy who has lost twice that wants it. I'm not saying, you don't want it, but I'm saying, like, I feel like he recognizes he can't make as much money fighting the Thiago Santoses and the Anthony Smiths of the world, that he actually is hoping that you fight him. He just doesn't want to come out and say it. Do you know what I mean?
I know. On the pay-per-view side of things, like, I don't make as much when I fight other guys. I mean, I fought Stipe Miocic and did like 500,000 pay-per-views or something like that. I fought John Jones and we did 900,000 pay-per-views. That's a massive difference in financial revenue. But ultimately, we've gotten it to a point now where when I go to fight, I know every cent I'm going to make, and then everything on top of it is just everything on top of it. But the reality is we make the most money when we fight each other. I bet if you go and look at those pay-per-views, the two biggest that I've ever had is against him, and I'm sure the two biggest he's ever had was against me. So we'll see.
You're going back to Anaheim. Of course, that's the site of, the knockout loss. Do you feel weird about that? Are you the kind of guy that thinks about those things?
I do. You know, that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back here. You know, I take it a step further. You know, we train at the American Kickboxing Academy in California, and we have not done well in the state of California. You know, we've come to Anaheim and Los Angeles County with 3 belts, and we've lost 3 belts. You know, I lost my belt to Jones. Velasquez lost his belt to Dos Santos, and Rocco lost his belt to Bisping. You know, so I want to come down here and try to make that right. You know, make it to where our future champions aren't concerned about coming down to Southern California because more people from the gym are here, or it just seems like a bigger event. I said, you know, I want to go make this right for me. You know, go down there and win and defend the title. Only guy that's won in a championship fight is Kane the first time. You know, so we've lost 3 title fights in a row down in Southern California, so it's on me to make that right this weekend.
My biggest takeaway from doing the E60 piece with you was getting the opportunity to go to Gilroy. I've never been to Gilroy before. Seeing how much that school, Gilroy High School, that team, your surroundings, your hometown, all that, how much it means to you. Like, I don't think people really realize how much that place means to you and how much that team means to you and the school means to you. And for you to fight essentially 2 or so weeks after a shooting in Gilroy, which I understand is like just a few minutes from where you live. Mm-hmm. What is that like for you? What is going on in your heart? Do you feel like you are fighting for these people? You have put that town on the map. And for this to happen so soon after a tragedy like that, what is going on in your mind when you think of Gilroy?
You know, it's the most unfortunate thing for, you know, someone to really try to attack the heart of the community. You know, the Garlic Festival is really the biggest thing that happens in Gilroy every single year. And it's a place where you think it's safe. You know, you go to these small towns and you try to live within the confines of safety. And that was interrupted a couple weeks ago. For me, it's an opportunity to go and show the strength of the community of Gilroy. You know, they love me. They love all the fighters from the town now. And there's a hashtag, Gilroy Strong, right now. And I feel like I can go out there and represent my city, my community, and hopefully put on a performance that they're proud of. But the opportunity to go out there in such a high-profile spot after such a horrific incident is, it just seems like, as the biggest name guy in the town, it should be on me to go and try to represent the community in the way that people should remember it, and not for what happened a few weeks ago. So it's an honor and a privilege for me, and I know the whole town's going to be watching, and I'm going to represent them to the best of my ability. But before we move on, you know, the people that were affected, you know, we've said a ton of prayer. The community got stronger. There were so many visuals in Gilroy and surrounding cities. The Gilroy PD reacted so quickly, and they showed how well prepared and well trained they were to go in and deal with the threats so quick. San Jose and all the surrounding communities sent so much force. It was truly amazing to watch the Bay Area come together in such a tough time.
And I know Gilroy means a lot to your good friend Cain Velasquez. What about that pro wrestling debut? If you would have told me 10 years ago that he would be a pro wrestler before you and doing Hurricane Ranas and jumping off the ropes and all that stuff, how is this possible? Where did this come from? Did you think he would look that good?
Man, let me tell you something. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I knew Cain had been training. But the day after the event, Ariel, I texted him, I go, when did you learn the backflip? I'm like, I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't even know he could jump in between the ropes and do that jumping arm bar. I was like, jumping arm whip. I was like, wow. I was like, you really have gotten so much better so fast. But what else do you expect from Cain Velasquez? I mean, from the start of his career, it was whatever he wanted to accomplish, he just got done. He had a lot of charisma. I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, it was awesome to watch me and Ian and Daniel and everybody in my my house just watching and just cheering Cain on. And I was just so happy for Cain, Michelle, Coral, and Cain. It was just, it's just good to see them doing something that's going to be very lucrative and also something that Cain truly loves. Any
chance you tag team with him? Like, now that he's so good, is this in the works? Are you guys talking about this? When you're done, when it's all said and done, would you like to do one match with him?
You know, I'd love to wrestle with Cain, of course. I love to do anything with, you know, Cain's my guy, man. He's done so much to help me. I got a video that I'm going to put up on my Instagram. It's from 2009, and it's Cain trying to teach me how to fight. It's the most absurd thing you've ever seen in your life. It's like me trying to block this noodle he's swinging at my head, and I look terrible. You know, but he just took me under his wing from the moment I walked into the gym. So anything I could do to try to help with him, I do it. One thing that we are going to try to do at some point is all the guys from Pro Wrestling Revolution in San Jose, the ones that train Cain, maybe we'll like rent out the Gilroy High School gym and do one of those little small shows, and then Cain and I can like do a run-in or maybe do a tag team match or something. That would be fun for me.
I remember back in the day, King Mo and you guys were talking about that back in the day. Remember we had that match. We recreated WrestleMania 6.
We get Mo in there too. We definitely try to get Mo in there because Mo's good.
Yes.
Mo's real good.
He tried out for TNA back in the day, or at least had a cup of coffee with TNA back in the day. Just a couple more minutes before I let you go, DC. I was focusing a lot, obviously, on could this be the last one? Because that's a big deal. Going into a fight, I mean, you could sell us on that. You could probably sell a lot of pay-per-views by saying, this is my last fight, and then walk it back. That's what a lot of fighters do, right? I didn't ask you about Francis. Is there any way you take that fight, or is it Jones or bust at this point?
It's only big fights for me. You know, it'd be Stipe Miocic, and then if I fight again, it'll be Jones. It's not gonna be anybody else. I mean, Francis Ngannou is a very talented fighter, big, strong, tough. I mean, durable. He took some shots from Stipe that were amazing, but at this point, it's gonna be massive fight as this one with Stipe is, or it'll be me just calling the fights, becoming a fan.
You made your debut 10 years ago next month, right? Gary Frazier, Strikeforce Challengers. We were reminiscing about that. Honestly, if I would have told you you'd be headlining UFC's double champ, heavyweight champ, undefeated 10 years later, in 10 years not that long, really. It's really not that long. Would you have believed me? Like, have you allowed yourself to sit back and enjoy? If this is the last one, are you allowing yourself to enjoy the roses, smell them, take them in, or are you focused 100% and doing that afterwards?
You know, I think when you take it all in, you need to do that when you have a moment to just truly sit back and reflect. You know, right now is not that time. I do appreciate all that I've been. I never would have imagined. I talk to Bob Cook and Dwayne Zinkin all the time, and it's like a fairy tale. Like, no one ever could have envisioned that this would have gone as well as it's gone. I mean, who's luckier? You know, who's luckier than me, right? I lose to John Jones, and then he gets in trouble, so then I win the belt. Then I lose to him again, and he gets in trouble again, so I get the belt back. And then because I got the belt back and defended the belt, now I get to fight for the heavyweight belt. It's like so many different things that have happened for me that you never could have even wrote into a movie. But ultimately, those opportunities aren't given. They are earned. And I think through a lot of hard work and commitment from my team and Bob Cook and Dwayne and Hav and Roe and Rudy and Camacho and Leandro and all those guys and my teammates, like, we've done some special things, and we've put ourselves in a truly, truly unique situation.
And what a special time for you. I mean, your beloved Pelicans get Zion Williamson. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You guys are killing it. Louisiana's killing it with you. The Saints are back. I mean, it's just a great time. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's a great time to be from Louisiana, man. You know, I got my Saints are back. Dustin Poirier holds a portion of the UFC championship. I got a UFC championship. It's just really, really good. You know, we're lucky. Now, here's the deal. I got in trouble the other day about Khabib because he said, why they ask you this? When they ask you who's going to win out of me and Dustin, you say, oh, Khabib's good, Dustin's good. You don't support me, brother? You don't support me, brother? No, I am solely and squarely in your corner. Khabib Nurmagomedov gets the job done at UFC 242. I love Dustin Poirier, but Khabib gets the job done.
Wow, that is big. I know how much you like Dustin, but that is big. I
Love
expect
Dustin.
nothing less from you. You're a very loyal guy. First, it's 241. It's this Saturday, Anaheim. I can't wait. Yes? One last thing?
Yes, one last thing, Ariel. Hey, thank you for the E60. I thought you did such a phenomenal job. The time you guys spent on telling my story, getting all the footage, going out and doing everything you did. I mean, it is amazing to think that when you called me from the Apple Store in 2009, that at some point you and I would get to do an E60 segment together. I never would have imagined, and I truly would not have wanted to do it with anyone else. I appreciate all your effort. I appreciate the entire team at ESPN and E60. And thank you guys for telling my story in the most complete way that anyone's ever done. So thank you personally, and also everyone else. You did a phenomenal job, man. You've got, hey, your prospects besides MMA are very bright, young man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Big ups to Dan Lindbergh and Chris Tuminello, Carolyn Hong, Andy Tennant, who really made that show what it was, but it was a great experience, and I'm happy that the first one was with you, and I pitched it back in October of last year, and I can't believe it actually aired. It's amazing. So thanks to you, my man. As always, thank you for the time, for being so open on another one. Okay, no, that was just a piece. I thought you had a second thing to say. That was just a piece. I'm not down with the piece. I'm a little slow to all that. I'm old as well. DC, my man, thank you. We'll see you out in Anaheim. Good luck this Saturday.
Thank you, Ariel.
There he is, Daniel Cormier, the reigning, defending UFC heavyweight champion, defends his title for the second time against Stipe Miocic this Saturday at 241. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.